Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're ranking the top 10 best attainable point guards in NBA 2K26 MyTEAM, and this list has changed a decent amount from what it would have looked like yesterday because of the Season 2 patch that dropped today. Definitely changed the way the game is going to be played a lot. Fades are dead, or mostly dead anyway. If they're wide open, sometimes occasionally you might hit them, but generally speaking, if you're dribbling a lot, especially, they're not good anymore, and it changes the way a lot of the game is going to be played. Makes certain cards more valuable, I think, and certain cards less valuable as well. I'm gonna explain what I mean in this video. So before we hop into it, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 50,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, multiple videos a day. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get to number 10, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Number 10. Jason Kidd. This card would have been number 1 before today. He barely even cracks the top 10. I put the wrong Jason Kidd. This card is much, much worse than he was yesterday. Specifically, J Kidd, more than any other point guard, I personally believe, was affected by this patch because, number 1, he's only 6'4", so he doesn't have elite size. Number 2, he is very fade made. He had like probably the best normal fade in the game. His upper worked beautifully with normal fade, especially on quick, and made for a very, very tough to contest fade. But the honest truth is his SIGs aren't that great. He can't really dunk very well, which is a very important attribute for a card to have, especially now. Slashing is much, much more important. And again, he's only 6'4", so yes, he's a great defensive point guard, but that is nerfed a little bit by the lack of height. Now, he's still a great defensive PG, and that does still add value, but offensively, fading is much more nerfed, so now his offense is way more limited, and I think defensively, I don't think he makes up for it because he's not that great of a slasher, and again, his jumper by itself stands still. It's not horrible, but it's certainly not a jumper you're 3-hunting with. It's the fade that made him special. Unfortunately, that's gone now, so he gets knocked down a decent bit, I feel like, on this list. I mean, a pretty dramatic bit. He's the most affected card, I feel like, of all of them, because what made him good is something that he's not good at anymore. Number 9 is going to be Spencer Dinwiddie. This card is 6'5" with a 6'8" wingspan, and is it does everything well, but nothing insane card. He is not as affected by the fade nerf because his fade is not that great, but 93 speed, 88 3 ball, 80 driving dunk, decent defense, pretty well-rounded badge-wise. Again, a good, not insane card. Honestly, his animations aren't special. I mean, D-book dribble style is fine, but his escape isn't great. Behind the back is kind of whatever. I mean, just in general, his SIGs are not that special. Like I said, fade isn't that insane. Jumper is smooth and easy to green, but it's not ridiculously fast. He's just a well-rounded good card. He's got great shooting badges. He's fast, solid finisher, good size, decent player build, decent defender. Well-rounded, solid card. Not unbelievably insane. There are better PGs, but I like Spencer Dinwiddie, and I think he's a good option at the PG spot. Definitely not a bad person to put a little lower on this list. Number 8 is going to be Kirk Hinrich. Very simply because he's a better shooter than Jason Kidd is. His jumper's better, and he's got 93 3 ball, half dead eye, half set shot. They're the same card at this point. Both of them are very good defensive point guards who are 6'4", and I feel like J Kidd was nerfed more than this Kirk Hinrich card was because Kirk Hinrich has a really good jumper, and his standstill jumper is better than J Kidd's is, and I think in terms of other stuff, they're pretty much the same. I just think he's a better shooter. His jumper's better, and now that J Kidd isn't going to be out here with basically the best fade in the game going right at how good his upper was with normal fade, I just think in general it boosts other cards a little bit more, and so that's why I have a guy like Kirk Hinrich above J Kidd, even though he would have been several spots lower before today. Another guy that I like who is a decent slasher, decent finisher, pretty good size, and a very good defensive point guard as well is Jalen Suggs, who I feel like isn't quite as affected as well because his fade isn't that insane. So again, he doesn't really, I mean, I don't think he has the best SIGs or anything, but he doesn't get nerfed that much. He's got versatile defense. 75 interior isn't ideal, but the perimeter stuff is really good. He's 6'5" with a little bit of a short wingspan, but 80 driving dunk, has gold posterizer, has, again, good shooting badges and a decent jumper. Jumper isn't insane on Suggs in terms of his standstill shot, but it's fine. Kyrie dribble style is pretty good. The rest of his SIGs, to be totally honest, are, I mean, they're okay. They're not great. I don't think this card's really here for SIGs. He's mostly a defensive point guard who just happens to be a pretty decent finisher. I don't think he's the best point guard on this list by any means, but I think he's a solid option. I think it's 6'5", especially, having decent finishing ability. He gives you enough offensively to be valuable, considering that he's a very, very good defensive point guard, especially on the perimeter. And again, at 6'5", provides enough size to be really nice in that aspect as well for a PG. Moving on to the number 6 spot. Honestly, I don't love this card as much either. He also got knocked down a good bit for him because, again, Pro 2 Fade with Richie Guerin was one of the biggest boosts to this card, was the ability to fade to both sides. He no longer has that. Still a 6'4 point guard with a 6'5 wingspan. Still has 85 driving dunk. He's a better finisher than a guy like J-Kid is for sure. Defensively, he's still solid, has pretty decent badges all the way around. Good strength for a PG, solid interior perimeter, all that type of stuff. But he doesn't have a good fade anymore, and I'll say his standstill jumper isn't insane. So, I mean, he does still have I guess he still has a good fade, but he's not able to utilize it at a high level anymore the way that you were. And again, I think that holds him back. He was probably, I think, 3rd or 4th on my regular point guard list earlier on this week, and now he's very, very low, or a noticeable bit lower on the attainable PG list. So again, a card who I think gets held back a little bit by that nerf to fades. By the way, I don't think I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, and I absolutely should have. When I say attainable, I mean cards you can either grind for or buy for less than about 400,000 to 500,000 MT, I would say. That is what I'm considering an attainable card. So a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a Ja Morant, guys like that are not going to be on this list. At number 5, though, we do have Tyreke Evans, who is probably arguably the most expensive card on this list. Definitely one of the most expensive cards on this list. And I'm honestly not completely sure why. He's 6'6" with 6'11 wingspan. He's fast. He's a good finisher. His stats and badges all the way around are awesome. But he's not, like, jump shot wise special. He just, to me, because of how fast he is and how big he is, and his player build is really big, and how good of a finisher he is, he's a guy who gets knocked up this list a decent bit because his height is now more valuable, as we're valuing that defense and switchability even more, with fades being nerfed. His standstill jumper isn't great, but you weren't out here fading with him anyway, so he's not really a guy who's being particularly affected by this change. And I think overall, he of all people is one of those guys with his player build and his switchability to where he fits the way the meta of this game is going to be more than he did, and now I think is deserving of a top 5 spot. That feels totally fair to me. Number 4 is going to be Marcus Smart. If you like defense and slashing, Marcus Smart's your guy. 94 speed, 90 driving dunk, 90 interior, 97 perimeter, 97 steal. Is he perfect? No, but his jumper is solid. Actually, I'd say it's very good, and he's a great slasher and a great defender. Now, he has no SIGs at all. That's the nitpick with him, is pro dribble style and a bunch of basic animations. Obviously not ideal, but his jumper, like I said, I really do like. And 90 driving dunk is nothing to scoff at. And he, again, does provide pretty darn good defense as well. One of the best defensive point guards in the game, even at only 6'4". He reminds me of a Jason Kidd with a better standstill jumper and better slashing now. So for me, Marcus Smart, he's a good card. I think number 4 is completely fair. Number 3, I like offense, Jordan Clarkson. One of the few guys who in this game who can actually kind of score the ball. Having a good escape and a good moving crossover up the court and stuff like that is really nice. He is not as good defensively as most of these guys are, but he wasn't really a fader anyway. He just had Coby escape, really good standstill jumper, good moving crossover in the full court, stuff like that. And because of that, he isn't really as nerfed as a lot of the other guys who are reliant on fades as offensive cards. So that's why I have Jordan Clarkson high on this list at 6'5" and 6'8" wingspan. He plays enough defense to be competitive. And again, jumper is really nice. Escape is really, really nice. Crossover, this Jordan Poole sig is really, really good too. I think he is super duper solid. For me, Jordan Clarkson at 3, even though he's not the defender that a Marcus Smart is, or even a Jason Kidd, or guys like that on this list, offensively, he's one of the best PGs in the game. And especially now, well, you're going to need guys who can put the ball on the floor and create space. And I think Jordan Clarkson actually gives you a player who kind of has the potential to do that pretty effectively. Speaking of players who can put the ball on the floor and create a bit, Coby White is going to be our number 2 card. Another guy who he could fade decently right, but was not at all fade made before this patch, and now is, again, more complete, more good version. Very similar to Jordan Clarkson, actually, at 6'5", has 90 speed, 93 bunch of good shooting badges, 80 driving dunk, a good defense. I will say, though, when I look at it, Clarkson having that 90 driving dunk and Coby White having that 80, and the defensive badges that Coby White's missing, I actually think I might want to turn Coby White down, because you're going to have to add D badges to him, and he's still not going to be that elite defensively. Offensively, I really like his jumper. He does move pretty good for a point guard, but I'm going to be honest, I'm looking at this list. I am sorry, Coby White, you are getting moved down this list a few spots, actually. I'm going to put him here, and I'm going to put him here, and we're going to go with this. This is going to be the list. That being said, number 1, Ron Harper. I think he's the best point guard you can buy right now, just because he's 6'6" and he's awesome defensively. And I mean awesome defensively. Big player, about 6'9" wingspan, has Paul George escape, has a good jumper, has normal fade. Not that that really matters that much anymore. Defensively, he's a monster. He's a decent finisher. Not the fastest point guard in the game, but he's a tall, elite defensive point guard who has a really smooth jumper and Paul George escape. I think he is the best attainable point guard in the game, and I honestly think it's less close than it was before today. He is the best attainable PG in my team right now, and it's not all that close in my opinion, because he's the only one who gives you the size, the defense, and the shooting, and a little bit of slashing, and even a sig or two. It's really nice to have. That being said, it's gonna do it for the video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.